Hi students, welcome to our first collab. Just checking that the audio is fine. Can you just let me know if it is? You can send me a text message or just unmute your mic, whichever. Okay, fantastic. Thanks for letting me know. Okay. So yeah, this session is being recorded. Fantastic. And I'll make the recording available after this. So for students that cannot attend, it will be accessible to you. So yeah, I'm Daryl. I'll be your tutor. I've been getting some emails from students basically about the pace and about the material. So I'll just iron out some of that those questions out here. So as your tutor, what I will be assisting you with is with the course material. So if you're having a problem with certain learning units, a certain problem, you're not understanding something in any of the sections, then let me know. That's what I'm here to help you with. If you're working through a posture paper or any other material, you found a question that's giving you problems, then you can run it by me and I can assist you with that. So yeah, send your stuff to me via email. If you do need some assistance with some of the problems, and if you've started something, and I hope that you actually, started attempting that problem, then send me a PDF of it. So I can actually annotate it and put comments, and give you some constructive feedback. If there's something a bit more detailed or a lot more, then I'll just have a collab and address it there. So that's what these collabs are for. It's to help you with problems that you're having, to prep you basically for the assignment and to the exam. It's not necessarily there to teach you, because I'm not a lecturer. It's there just to assist you with what you're having problems with. But if I don't get any correspondence from the students about any problems, then I'm just assuming that you're okay with the material, and I'll do problems that I think will be important, like what I'm going to do today. Because it's our first one, I'll just cover material that I think or problems that I think would be a high likelihood of being tested in your assignment and your exam. And that's what I'm going to do today for learning units 1 and 2. So I'm assuming everyone has the Learn module outline, which is available on the VC portal. If you don't, please download that. You want to download that, so I'll just write this in the chat, things that you need to access from the portal. So first, get the latest PAS, your programming assessment schedule. Then you want to get your workbook. Okay, that's also on the portal. And then your Learn module outline. Now, the PAS has the dates of your assignments, your exam, pretty much your assessments, other than your ISTAS. Okay, the ISTAS I will tell you about it in a second. So if you want to know what dates, if anything's moved, the PAS is where you need to look. Your workbook is where your formula sheet is, and I'll be showing you that in a second. It gives you a breakdown of the material and of course what they'll be covering, but your formula sheet is the main thing that you're going to be accessing from that. And you want to use that formula sheet because that's the kind of formula sheet that you're going to get in your exam and your assignment. You can use the one in the back of your textbook, but the notation's a bit different. So I would recommend you get the workbook. And then the Learn module outline basically gives you a summary and the breakdown of the learning units, what they cover, what they expect you to achieve, the module objective, and it has a pacer there. So it tells you what you need to cover within certain weeks, and you can use that as your guideline for how you're pacing yourself. And I'll try and structure the collabs according to that. But I mean, say I'm 5 weeks down and someone has a problem with the questions in learning in 1. If no one else has sent me any other questions about the further learning units, and I'm going to go back to it and address it because I got to address the students' concerns first. So just be clear on that. So it's okay if you do ask me any questions about any learning units, even if we have went past that and we're ahead of the schedule. So yeah, so far, any questions? Chapters in the textbook. Okay, so the learning units. So if you go to VC Learn, right? I'm assuming you've already started browsing VC Learn and looking at the material. So let me share my screen with you. Okay, so VC Learn is been giving me issues now. It's not the network, it's actually just the platform right now. So if it freezes, please forgive me. I'm going to share my screen and I'll show you how to navigate. Okay. Okay, so let's get into VC. So see here on the left, if you go to Learning Units under Module Content, every learning unit here, if you click on it, so let's click on Learning Unit 2, for instance. I click here, right? Learning Unit 2. If you read the material as you go down, let me click on a theme. Summarizing data using, actually let's do this one, describing data. If you read through that, somewhere down the bottom, see there, they say confirm your answers by reading chapter 3 of the textbook. So the material online tells you which chapter to go to. So this was Learning Unit 2. Sorry, was this Learning Unit 2? Yeah, I think this was Learning Unit 2. But anyway, in each theme and learning unit that you do click in, they do direct you to the relevant chapter in the textbook. Seeing that answers your question. Yes, thanks, Jikas. Okay, so that's how you use the material in conjunction with your textbook. Okay, so just because it's Learning Unit 2 doesn't mean it's chapter 2 of the textbook. Just be aware of that. Okay, so are there any other questions that you want to ask me before I just like continue with those problems I gave you to work through? I'm not going to discuss that with you now online. If there's no, if you need to unmute yourself and comment, feel free to do that. Otherwise, I will check the messages. Thank you, Tanya. Okay, ICE tasks, students have been asking about that. So I haven't placed up any, and the reason is because I wanted to have this collab first before I tell you about them. So all the ICE tasks will be online. You complete it online and you submit it right there and then. I'm going to give you 3 attempts at each ICE task, and I'll take the highest attempt. All right. Yes, you can use the 4th edition. I'm actually using the 4th edition also. Okay, so all ICE tasks, all 4 of them, the due date will be 1st of November. Lennon, is this a difficult subject? No, you just need to work consistently. Don't cram. Don't do things last minute before an assignment, before an exam. Then you won't do well. The subject, this module has a benefit that once you grasp the concept, you're well on your way. You don't have to continuously go over it. If you grasp the concept and if you've answered certain questions and you understand it, it sticks with you. So it's just a matter of getting to that point. And the only way you get there is by just working through problems. Okay, so the ICE task, all 4 of them, I'm going to make the deadline on the 1st of November. And I'll put them up before the end of this week. So you have till 1st of November. That's more than enough time. So please don't wait for it to get to the last week to start doing the ICE tasks. Okay, start doing them as you start covering the learning units to address that ICE task. And if you click on the description of each ICE task, it'll describe to you what learning units they cover before you begin the test. So you'll have an idea what to cover. All right, so 1st November, more than enough time. And obviously there'll be a specific time. I'll put the time up on the notice, on the announcement. All right, so that's your ICE task, 4 ICE tasks, and please complete all of them. Do not wait for it to come close to the deadline to do them. All right, Robin Lee, do we need a stats calculator? Yes, you need a stats calculator. So generally the scientific, you'd rather get the stats one, and if you can, get the Casio, the FX. I don't know what the newer model is now, but I'll write it down. You want to get the FX series. You want to get the Casio FX. I'm writing in the chat. Give me a second. -82 ZA series. You get the plus, so you get that. That's the one you want to get. I recommend you getting that. if you get the shop, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that I don't work with it, so I can't really kind of guide you through on using it. Doing it through the Colab is not ideal, but I have to make do what we have. So the Casio for today we'll just have to do. Yeah, the Plus is fine. 9 and 1. Okay, Georgina, I don't know all the models, but let's see. When we start working through this, if you have the similar buttons on the calculator that I have, then you should be good. As long as it's not a financial mathematics calculator. And I don't know what model it is, but that's the one that actually does like matrix multiplications in it. I don't think that one is allowed. You can check with the assessment center or VC Assist, and whether that calculator will be permitted. Okay, one more question. Just wanted to know if there's. Okay, yeah, about the WhatsApp group. Okay, one question at a time. I would recommend you guys do start a WhatsApp group. Just until the semester's finished. I won't be in that group, but I do recommend that the students form a group, because if there's questions, first run it by each other first. And I'm not talking about material in the course. Material in the course, I will gladly help you with that. That's what I need to be helping you with. So if you have problems in the material, any learning units, ask me. But when it comes to like dates of assignments and submission deadlines and stuff, it would be handy for you guys to communicate with each other on what you've read on the latest PAS. So check the VC portal regularly for the latest PAS, because it does change. Okay, just don't assume that the one that's out now will stay fixed. All right. So everyone, form a group. You've got the numbers here. I do recommend doing that. Okay. And wait, there was another question. I may have missed it. Sorry. But if I missed it, please just repost it. Changing is fine. Okay, so no other questions. Okay, guys. So let me begin with those problems that I gave you. So it was chapter 3 in your textbook, and I think these two questions kind of sum up central measures and dispersion measures. Okay, so question, let's get to question, what is it, 16 on chapter 3. Wait, I gave you, let me see, chapter 16 and 17. Let me just double check. Sorry, 12. I gave you 12 and 16. Okay, so we're going to do 12 and 16. First question, I'm going to do question 12. And if you, like I said, guys, have your textbook near you, need your calculator, get some paper and pen to write with. Okay, so question 12, your chapter 3 in your book. So I'll give you a second to get there. On the 4th edition is page 97. Right, and the question is meal values. Okay. So in the 4th edition textbook, yeah, thanks, Lennon. Thank you for that. Okay, so the question is, and I'm hoping most of you worked through this beforehand, and please, students, do try and work through them before the Colab, because you'll benefit a lot more. Okay, because I'd rather you get it wrong, because then when we're doing it, then you kind of understand where you went wrong. You pick it up faster as opposed to you seeing it for the first time as a lecture. All right, so the question is, a restaurant owner randomly selected and recorded the value of meals enjoyed by 20 diners on a given day, and the values of meals in rands were given in that table. All right, so those are all the meals: 44 rand, 65 rand, and all the way up to 44 rand in the end. Right, so you'll notice that the price of the meals, it's not ranked. When I say ranked, it's not ordered from lowest to highest. When you're given unstructured data like this, okay, I recommend you order it, especially if you read through the questions quickly, and if you see anything that says median or percentiles or quartiles, you know you're going to have to order that data. All right, so order that data. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'll show you. You would do it on a page and pen in your exam paper. I'm just doing it on a spreadsheet just so you can see it better. So this was the value. This was the data they gave you. All right, all the meal prices. And what I did was I just wrote it this way, going down a column, but I put it in order. Okay, you would have to, you obviously not going to have an Excel to your advantage. You're just going to have to write it out. But it's, for me, it's just easier typing it out to show you. Okay, so you want to order the value of the meals. And just a quick look at the meals, you can see that the lowest meal is 35 Rand. And then the highest meal is like 90 Rand. Most likely like 35 Rand is like starters, 90 Rand is like one of the high-end meals. You kind of get the idea. And it kind of ranges from 35 all the way to 90. All right, so let's look at the first question. Question A is, let's read the question out. Define the random variable and its data type. Okay, define the random variable. Remember, random variable is what you're measuring, the value of interest that you're trying to work out or get information from. And we're looking at the value of meals in rands. So that's your random variable. Okay, now what is the data type? Now, if you read through the notes, you know that data can take on, when it comes to numbers, it can take on decimals. So for instance, you can take on, like, let me go back to my Excel sheet, right? So you can take on numbers like, let's say 45.24 cents, right? You can take on those values, or you can take on a straight on value of 45. Now, if you look at the data that we have here, does it have cents? Do you see any decimals, any commas? Exactly. All right, so it's the whole number, right? So when there's no decimals, right? When there's no decimals, when it's a fixed number. Think about your age. If someone asks you what's your age, you'll never say 25.7. You will say 25, right? Or you'll never say 30.7. You'll say 30. When you're always giving a whole number, another example is when you're giving counting figures, like how many people bought this product. It'll never be 7.5. It'll be 7. When it's a whole number, we say it's discrete. Okay, so discrete is when it's a whole number. And in our example, it is whole numbers. So it's discrete. So that's your data type, right? It's quantitative and it's discrete. All right. Does that make sense, everyone? It's just terminology. You just need to learn that terminology. If it takes decimal values, we say it's continuous. So if I go back to my spreadsheet, for the number I gave you with the decimal, this is continuous. Pardon my spelling here. This is continuous, I think, and this is discrete. Whole number is discrete. When it takes decimal values, it's continuous. Right. So just pass. Okay. All right, everyone. So that's your first question. This terminology. Just read through the theory on that. It's pretty straightforward. Okay. B is compute the mean and standard deviation of the value of meals at the restaurant. Okay. Compute the mean and the standard deviation. All right. So I asked you to bring your calculator because we're going to do it using the stat functions in your calculator. All right, so I'm going to show you the data. If you look at your textbook, you'll see it there. Okay, so here's all the data, right? Everyone can see that. I'm assuming it's clear, everyone, right? What you're going to do is, if you want to work out the average, give me a second. Okay, fantastic. I'll go back there. If you want to work out the average, right? Now the average everyone knows, or if you don't, you would add up all the numbers, add every single thing up, and then once you get that total, you would then divide it by how many numbers you got. And in this example, we have 20 of them. There's 20 numbers, so the symbol for the number of data points or sample size that you have is n. So we have 20 values, right? Now if you wanted the average, you would add them all up. So you go 44 plus 65 plus 80 plus 72, etc. But instead, we're going to use the stat function in your calculator. All right, so let me go back here. All right, so here are the numbers. So what I want you to do is, especially those that have the Casio calculator, all right, what you're going to do is you're going to press the button mode, which is next to your on button. All right, so you press the mode button. Please follow, guys. Get your calculator out. All right, so you press mode and you'll see an option that says stats, which is option 2. So you'll press option 2 and then you'll see a whole bunch of other options. 1, which is 1 minus var, 2, etc. You're going to choose option 1, which is 1 minus var. And then you should see a table. You should see a table with something like this, a column with X. Some of you will have a column that says frequency, but some won't. But don't worry about the frequency one, because I want you to see a column with X and it's going down and you need to enter values there. Okay, Now, if you're there, what you need to do is, right, you're going to start entering all the data points that you got. So in our example, you've got 44 as your first data entry. So you're going to enter 44, you're going to type 44, right? And you're going to press equals to. And that's in your calculator, your equals to is your enter button. If you press equals to, you'll see it'll store it. Try it out. Is everyone following? You guys there? Someone get it? Yes, someone.
Carol.
Yeah.
Sorry, Yana, I have the shop calculator,
Oh dear. Oh dear.
so it,
Oh dear.
I have no clue. Like I pressed mode and it said stats is 1, which I pressed 1, but
Okay.
now it
Okay.
gives me completely something different, like SD line quad.
SD line. Okay, so I would think you would press SD. Choose
SD.
SD.
Yes,
Yeah.
then it says stat.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so you're there, and now you, if I gather, you're just ready to capture the numbers now.
Okay, great. Then do I just then capture the numbers and just say plus?
So yours, I don't think. So I don't have a shop, but I think you won't press. So for the Casio, you will press the number and you'll press equals to, right? But for the shop, I think you're gonna press the number, and there might be a button that says STO there, store.
No, it says if I press 44, for instance, it doesn't say anything.
Just press okay, press 44 and then press the STO button. If you see the STO button there.
STO. Oh, there, yes, I see it now.
You try that.
Okay, yes, then there's like a little arrow thing and it says H.
I think it's storing, yeah.
Okay, great.
So I think it's storing it. So that's how you store it in the shop, I think, here.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay, no problem. Try to get a Casio though. I would recommend that. But if you can't, yeah, just have to
I
make
think I
the
might
shop
have one
work.
lying around here. I must just find it. Thanks.
Okay, no problem. All right, everyone. So what you can do is, can you store the numbers in your calculator? Give it a shot. There's 20 numbers here. Here they are displayed for you. Doesn't matter what order you do them. You can store 44, then go to 65 bottom. It doesn't matter as long as you store all 20 numbers there. So I'll give you, I'll do it along with you. So I'll get an estimate of the time. So store those 20 numbers in your calculator. So it'll be 44 equals, and I'll go to the next number, 65 equals, and you'll see the numbers are racking up. In the end, you'll have 20 numbers stored. Okay, this will save you a lot of time, and the more you work with, the faster you'll get. And remember, when you're doing the exam, I'm not sure if you'll be face to face, but time is important then. Okay, so if anyone finished, just give me a heads up. I'm assuming everyone's got the textbook here, so. I think I'm very slow with this. Okay. And I'm going to show you how easy the life is going to be after this. Okay, everyone. Okay, so once you've done that, okay, so this is one of the great things about it. Guys, if you make, this is a quick tip, if you make an error, say you captured the wrong number and you need to change it, all you do is, you'll see that big blue scroll pad on your calculator with all the arrow keys. You can just move on to that number and just retype a number and then press equals to, and you see it'll overwrite that number. Okay, just a tip if you do make a mistake. So just keep that in mind. All right, once you've got it stored, all right, if you had to press the button AC, your data will still be there, okay? The only button you don't press, do not press, is the mode button. Do not press the mode button again, all right? You can press AC, your data will still be there, all right? So let's say we want to get the mean. Now you need to understand the symbol for mean. So I'm going to go back to the formula sheet. Okay, so I'll go back to the formula sheet here. Okay, the symbol for mean is this here, this X with a dash over it. It's called X bar. Right, now the symbols are important because your calculator is going to give you symbols. So you need to know that that is the mean. So let's say I want to call the mean. What you're going to do is you're going to press Shift. You're going to see the button 1, the number 1 button. It's got stat written above it. Right, so you press that 1 because you're calling the stat function, right? And then you'll give me a second. Shift 1, and then you'll see one of the options is var, VAR, which is option 4 on mine, but it might be another number in yours. But you want to choose the option var, VAR, which is variables. All right, and then you'll see the symbol X bar. Whatever option it is, press that. If it's option 2, press 2, and hit equals to. Hit equals to, and you'll get the mean. Data and edit. Okay, press AC, Taylor. Then press AC. Press AC. Everyone press AC if you don't see it. Then try it again. Shift 1. And you should see it. Okay, Len is using it. If you press Shift and 1, you'd see the option 4, which is variables. And if you'll choose the option X bar, yes. Enter all the figures below. Okay, so you press all the figures below. Press AC. Once you've captured all the numbers, press AC. Or press AC. Then you're going to choose Shift, button 1. All right, and then you'll see there's an option that says variables, which is 4 on my calculator. Great, Taylor. Right, so choose option 4, which is variables. Then you'll see the symbol X bar. Select that symbol if it's option 2. Then hit equals to, and it'll give you the mean. All right, tell me what's the mean that you get. The average should be 55.95, something like that. Let me see. Very well done. Good, good. Okay, excellent. All right, so that's how you find the average. That's how you find the mean. Okay. Now, if you had to find the standard deviation, all right, symbol for variables is VAR, Natasha. But the symbol for the mean is X bar. It's this here. The mean symbol is this symbol here. Can you see in the formula sheet what I'm highlighting? X with a dash over it. Okay, so let's get the standard deviation now. If you want the standard deviation, all right, you can press AC again. Press AC. You're going to do the same thing to get standard deviation. Natasha, I can't find var. What is Natasha, press AC. Press AC, then press Shift. Then press 1, the button 1, and then you should see VAR there, variables. Okay. If you can't, I'll come back to you and then.
Don't worry, just remember I've got the sharp, so.
Oh, you got the sharp. Okay, Natasha, you got the sharp. Oh, okay.
That's
okay,
why.
Natasha, on your calculator, do you see a symbol that says X bar? X with a dash over it.
I've got the X, so I press alpha because it's according to the color code, I guess. So I press alpha, then I press the X bar. So I've got that.
And hit equals?
But then, error. No, it's fine. Don't worry. Go on with the class. I'll try and figure it out. I'll make notes.
Okay. Sorry. I'll try and send a link about the sharp calculator after this. Okay, everyone. So if you want the standard deviation, all your stat symbols are found like that. Okay, so you press Shift 1, you choose variables, which is option 4, and the symbol for standard deviation. There's 4 symbols there. Anyone want to take a guess which one it is? So you know it's not 2, it's not X bar because we just did that. Which symbol do you think it's the standard deviation? If you're reading the notes. Okay, good. It's Sx. Okay, it's not the third one. It's not sigma x. There's a difference. Sigma x is the population standard deviation, and we're not dealing with the population. We took a sample. Okay, so it's Sx. It's this Sx. That's the one you're choosing. It's the sample standard deviation. Right, so you would choose that. Sx. If it's option 4, press that, and equals, and you should get something like, yeah, get into the habit of 2 decimal places. Okay, 2 decimal places is fine. Yeah, I think you get 14. I think that's about right. Well done. Okay, everyone, well done. So you've captured the right data because you got the same thing for the standard deviation. Okay. Okay, so that's pretty much how you use your calculator to get the to get the mean and the standard deviation. Okay, and that's a shortcut to do it. Some cases in the exam or the assignment, they may ask you to do it the long way. Okay, the long way for the standard deviation is done in this way, and I'll just show you how it's done. It's tedious, but it's not complicated. Okay, so you'd have to use your formula sheet here. So this is your formula sheet for standard deviation. If you look under measures of dispersion, and you'll see there's an S squared here. Sorry, so not this one, the one on the left. The one on the left here. S squared equals sum x squared minus nx bar and minus 1. Okay, so the formula here is, let me explain how you do it if you were to do it the long way. Okay, here's your data. These are all your x values. Okay, what you want to do is you have to find the mean nonetheless. We know the mean is 55,95. First step is you take each data point and you subtract the mean from it. So it's 35 minus this 55,95 gives you minus 21. Then the next thing you do the same thing. 36 minus the mean, which is 55,95, and you get minus 20. You do this for all the values. Okay. Once you do it for all the values, you've taken away the mean from all of them. Right? You subtracted the mean. The next step is you take the same difference value that you found, this minus 21, and you square it. So that this means taking minus 21 times minus 21 gives you 438,9. Then minus 20 times itself will give you 398. Everyone with me so far? How to get these two columns? All right. Okay, fantastic. All right. And then all you do is you take the total of that last column. Sorry, what happened there? Okay. You take the total of the last column, and if you want the variance, okay, now give me a second. If you want the variance, you take that total and you divide it by how many data points you got, minus 1. Now, how do you know to use minus 1? And that's your formula sheet. You see, when you're talking about the sample standard deviation, it's n minus 1. When it's the population standard deviation, it's just n on its own. But remember, we're talking about the sample. So you divide that total by n minus 1 and you get the s squared. Okay, so s squared is this notation now. S squared is your variance. And if you're taking s on its own or taking the square root of s, then it's your standard deviation. So what I'm saying is, say your s squared was 4. Say your s squared, say it was 4, right? Your s is simply the square root of that. So in other words, your s is 2. Does that make sense? So this is just your s is your standard deviation, and your s squared is your variance. That makes sense, class? Your standard deviation is just the square root of your variance. If you do it the long way, you have to find the variance first. Okay. I'm hoping that makes sense. Okay, great, fantastic, guys, doing well. All right, so that was basically, we found the variance, we found the standard deviation. Median is very easy. Okay, the median is the middle number. So the only way to find that is by ranking them. So by putting them in order and then checking what the middle number is. Now I've got 20 data points, right? So if you've got 20 data points, there isn't an exact middle, right? It's because there's 20, the halfway mark is actually the 10th and the 11th number because you've got an even number of numbers. If it was a middle, so for instance, let me do it this way, right? Let's say I had, I'm actually going to share my whiteboard with you. Give me a second. Right. Say I had 5 numbers. Okay, so I had the number, and I'm putting in order: 2, number 4, number 7, number 8, and the number 9. Okay, now if you look at this, right, you can clearly see there's a middle number here. It's the 7, right? Because I have 2 numbers on the right and I have 2 numbers on the left. So it clearly splits them up down the center. But if I add another number now, let's say I add another number, and let's make it 10. Okay, now it isn't an exact middle. Can you see that? There's no number that will split them up evenly on either side. So what you do is you take the 2 middle numbers. So because I have 5 numbers here, I'm going to take the 3rd and the 4th number. Okay, so how I know to do that is because I've got 5 numbers, I'll do 5 divided by 2, because I'm trying to find a halfway mark, and that gives me 2.5, right? So that means I must take the 2nd and the 3rd number. This 2.5 must be in between, so I take these 2. So that's exactly what I'm doing here. I'm going to stop sharing with the restaurant data. I have 20 numbers. It's an even number, so I'm going to take 20 divided by the 2, which is 10, so I'm going to take 10 and 11 number. All right, so here, does everyone follow that? I take the 2 middle numbers, and the 2 middle numbers are 51 and 55. And with that, all you do is you look at those 2 middle numbers, you add them up and you divide by 2, and that's your median. Makes sense. Oh, sorry. Apologize for that. Thank you. Okay, so let's go back to the restaurant data. What are the middle numbers? Okay, so you got 20 meal values. If you got 20, then it means you take these 2 as your middle numbers, the 10th and the 11th one, the 51 and 55. And so the median is that 51 plus 55 divided by 2. Checking. Sound is poor. Students, can you hear me? Is the sound so bad? Just want to check that it's all around. Okay. Sorry, Shanique. Okay, so that's how you, Robin. Okay, sorry, I think it's just your side. Sorry, students. Okay, so that's how you find the median. Pretty simple. The mode is easy, everyone. The mode is, what is the most frequent number? What number do you see that occurring the most amount of times? And in our case, you can see it's 44. There's 3 meals with the value of 44, so that's your mode. Okay, now the last question is E, and I'm gonna do this with a diagram. Yes, you can have, Taylor, yes, you can have more than one mode. If you see, and this is just an example, I'm just using it as a demonstration. You can see there's 2 meals with 48, but say there was a 3rd one. If there was another 48, then that means you'd have 2 modes, 44 and 48, because they both occur 3 times, if that was the case. All right, excuse me. So I'm going to go to the whiteboard here to explain something to you. Okay, how do you know when to use the mean, the median, and the mode? Okay, in stats, we have something called a distribution. Okay, your data, the way it's shaped. Okay, now where the peak is, that's where your mode is. Okay, so that's where your mode is. I'll write this out. That's your mode. I'm just going to write MO, so you know it's mode. Okay, the next one is when your data is shaped like this. Okay, so that means it's skewed to the right. That means it's got a long tail on the right. okay, then means your median is next. Your median is always next to the mode. So in our case, we'll put ME there. And then the last one is your average. Your average will be here, your X bar. Okay, so that's your X bar, right? So your median is always in between. So what this means is, look, the more data that you have that's skewed on the right, it's going to pull your average to the right. Think about it this way, right? Along comes someone else that orders the meal for 1,000 Rand. Unlikely, but let's say he does. Then what does that do to your average? It increases your average because this one person ordered such a large meal, and so it pulled the average more to the right, so it skewed it even more. And you don't want that one person to affect the average, okay? It's an outlier, right? It's unlikely that it does happen, so it's not the norm. So then you'd want to not use the average. And if you look at our data, look at the price of the meals. Can you see most of it starts around the 30s, then they start sitting around the 40s, and then you get these few here, one that orders 80 and the other one that orders 90. Those are outliers. So what happens is it pulls the average. It's skewing the average to the right. Does it make sense, people? So you wouldn't want to use your mean here. Just letting that sink in for a second. Okay, all right. So let me show my whiteboard. So take away the whiteboard. Okay, so that's why you would not use the average. And in this case, you would use the median. The median is not affected by outliers. The median is the middle number, whatever the middle number is. So look at the example here, the data that I'm showing you on the right. Say I made this one meal 1,000. It doesn't change where this 51 and 55 are positioned. These numbers will still be used to get the median. So the 1,000 has no effect on that. So now you can see why the median is not affected by outliers. Okay, everyone, does that make sense? That's question 12. I'm gonna make sure everyone's good at that. It could be also use the mode. So you could use the mode if it's close to the median. And if you look at our case, it's not too close. When would you want to use the mode? The mode is when the mode is when most of your data is located at the peak. Remember the shape I just drew? The mode is where the peak is. Yeah. Shigi, does that answer it? Okay, fantastic. All right, everyone. So I'll move on to the next question, which was question 16, I believe. Okay, so I'm just going to turn to that page. I think that's question 16, and that was on the grocery spend. Okay, so you can turn to that page. I'm just going to go back to my Excel. And what we were given is this data here. So I'm just going to use the Excel to show you the data that you got in your textbook. So everyone's there. Everyone's good at this. What this is telling you is people that spend between 10 or 20%, 10 to 20% of their income. These are the number of families that spend that percent of their income. Okay, so I'll read the question out so you get some context here. It says an economist conducted a study to identify the percentage of family income allocated to the purchase of groceries. She surveyed a random sample of 50 families and compiled the following numeric frequency distribution. So what it's saying is there are 6 families that spend between 10 and 20% of their income on groceries. In the next row, there's 14 families that actually spend between 20 and 30% of their income on groceries. Okay, is everyone following? That's pretty much what the data is telling you in the table. Okay, so let's tackle the problems. Okay, the question A, it says compute and interpret the mean percentage of family income allocated to grocery purchase. Okay, use the weighted average formula. Okay, so I'm going to show you both the long way and the short way to get the average for data when it's grouped like it is here. You have the formula sheet, Natasha. You need to download the workbook on VC Portal. Okay, so access the portal and download the workbook from that. Okay. Okay, all right, so let's go back, no problem. So let's go back to here. So this is I'm just gonna make sure I'm sharing my screen here. Okay, all right. So what you need to do is the first step to get the mean is you need to find the midpoints. The symbol for midpoints is Fi. Okay. What is the midpoint? The midpoint is, look at the interval. The first interval is 10 to 20. So midpoint, as the name says, what is the midpoint of that interval? If it goes from 10 to 20, then what's halfway between 10 and 20? All you do is you take 20 plus 10, you divide by 2, and that's 15%. Let me see that. Question. Yes, Jacobs, well done. Yes, that's exactly it. Yes, you can use the answers at the back of the book, but obviously use them to verify your answers. Don't look at them and then attempt the problem. Attempt it first and then use it to double check your understanding. All right, so that's how you find the midpoint, and you'll just do that for every row. You'll find the midpoint for the next row. Halfway between 20 and 30 is 25. And you'll write them out in the table, like how I've done here. So that's your midpoints. Okay. I'm checking any questions. I need to know how to get that. Yes, Len, yeah. Yes, you need to know how to get those midpoints. So everyone's understanding how to get the midpoints? Stasia. Okay, fantastic. All right. So once you get the midpoints, okay, the next step is to take your midpoint. So, sorry, my midpoint is actually xi. My mistake. It's my notation is bad. Midpoint is xi. What you want to do is you take the frequency and you multiply it by the midpoint. Okay, so your frequency is 6, your midpoint is 15. So you say 6 times 15, and that gives you this next column, which is your xi times fi. And I'll show you why I'm doing all of this. 10 plus 20. 10. Correct. That's right, Taylor. Yeah. When you do it though in your calculator, make sure you put brackets. It makes a difference. Okay. And then you can put divided by 2 like that. All right. So going back to that. Okay. So what we do is we take our frequency, your fi, and you multiply by the midpoint, xi, and you get this here, 0.9. And you do that for all the rows. Okay. Now, why am I doing that? Well, basically, I'm doing that because I'm following the formula for your average in your formula sheet in your workbook. This formula here, the sum fi xi over n. You can see the fi xi, it means it's your frequency times your midpoint. And you do this for all the rows. That's what the I is telling you. The I is just telling you to do it for all the rows. Your frequency times your midpoint, which is what I'm doing in the last column. And then it says on the top on the symbol, it says sum them all up. Okay, which is what I'm doing in the bottom here. I'm summing up that entire column. All right, when you sum them up, you then divide by how many data points you have. And the number of data points you have, if you read the question, it says you have 50 families. But the other way to figure that out is just add up your FIs, your frequency. If you add them up, you get your N. So there's your N. And the numerator is the 16,7. So that 16,7 divided by 50 gives you your X bar. All I'm doing is I'm just following the formula in your formula sheet. Does that make sense? You'll see that your average is 33.4%. Okay. So that's the long way to do it. I'm just going to show you how to do it in your calculator, how we work out the last column. Okay, the last column, no problem. Let me see how I would. Okay, how I would do it this way. Okay, I'm going to share my whiteboard in this one. Okay, so you got your table. So I won't do it for all the rows. Let's give you an idea. So let me. Okay, getting there. Okay, so the first one, if you look at that first row you had, it was 10 under 20. Okay, so it said 10 and under 20. And decrease the size, yeah. Sorry, it's going to change it. 10. We'll put 10 to 20. It's the same thing. All right, the next one was 20. I won't do all, so the next one was 20 to 30. Right. So you've got your frequency, which is given to you, the number of families, which was the first one was 6, the next one was 14. Right. And we found the midpoint in this one. So this xi, this is your midpoint. How you get the midpoint is you look at this first, your class intervals here, and you find the midpoint as you did, Taylor. So the halfway point of 10 to 20 was 15. So I'll write that down. Okay, the midpoint for the next one is halfway between 20 and 30, and that's 25. And your last column is your fi times xi. So it's basically this here. What I'm saying is it's your fi times your xi. What it's saying is this column here where your frequencies, this is your fi. That's your f column. All it's saying is multiply these two columns out. So multiply the 6 times the 15%. Remember, these are percents. I forgot. I don't think I'm supposed to put 20% here. So 6 times 15% gives you this value here. The next one will be 14 times 25%, and it will give you this value here. Does that make sense? Hello? Okay, so please excuse me. Yeah, no problem, everyone. So once you've got this column, now if you look at your formula sheet, the formula sheet for XBAR for group data is this. It's the sum fi times xi all over n. Now the total, the sigma, the sum means the total here. The total of this column. If you add up this column, that gives you the numerator. All right, and then your n is simply the number of data points that you have, which is 50, and that gives you your xbar. All right, so if you do that, you should get an average of 33, I believe, 33.4%. So just to show you how to do your calculator, though, right? Your calculator can handle group data, right? So you need to set your calculator up. So for those that got a sharp calculator, all right, I want you to press Shift. Okay, on your calculator, press Shift, press Mode, right? And you're going to scroll down for an option that says Stat, right? And my calculator says 3, so you'll press that, and then it asks you, do you want the frequency on or off? And you're going to select 1. You want it on. Don't know how to do sharp blend, unfortunately. I don't even know if it can do it, to be honest. Okay, so now once you've done that, now when you press mode and you choose 2, which is your stat option, right? I want you to choose the option 1 minus var, which is option 1. 1 minus var. Choose this option, and you'll see your table. Your calculator now says it's got 2 columns. It's got a column for x, and it's got a column for frequency here. All right. Now you can capture your frequency values. So in our example, it'll be the 6, it'll be the 14. Okay, this column here goes there, and your midpoints, the x's, is this column here. You capture that there for 15%, and then your 25% gets captured here. So you can store the data here for group data. And once you do that, you call the mean, just like how I showed you earlier, right? You'll press Shift 1 and choose the xbar option. Okay, so that's how you can do it with your calculator, everyone. And it'll even give you a standard deviation the same way, as long as you store the data correctly in your calculator. Does that make sense? Okay. Okay. I'm glad. Okay, so we get there. All right, let me stop sharing. Okay. Okay, great, great. Okay, so I'm just gonna go back to my here. All right, so that's how you find the mean using your calculator or using the long way. Okay. Now, guys, I'm just going to do one more with you guys. That's actually going to be the median, and I'm going to show you how to work with the median for group data, and that's using this formula here. All right. So you need to understand when to use this formula, what it actually means. So this formula here, ME equals to OME plus the C n over 2, etc. I'll explain to you what the symbols mean and how to pull out those values, right? Okay, so now you've given data in a table and you got to find out what the median is. So the first step is to determine what interval, which of these rows has the median in it. Okay, so now think about it. Here you've got 50 families, right? That's the sum of your frequency column. If you've got 50 families, which number would be the median number? If you've got 50, it would be 25. Yes, yes, Trickers. So it'd be 25. Now, if you look at your frequency column, look at this frequency column, right? Column here. In the first row, you've got 6 people, 6 families. When you get to the second row, you've got 14, but you've got a total of 20. The 6 plus the 14 that you've already got. So that's 20. So we still haven't hit the 25th family. But when you get to the third row, you've got 36 families. So you passed the 25 families. So that means the 25 number is in the third row. Does everyone get that? Does everyone get why you have the 25 families lying in the third row? And that's where your median would be. Fantastic. Okay. So that's your first goal, is to identify which interval has the median. So once we know that, I've highlighted it in red just so we can see it better. Okay, so that's going to be our median row. Okay, so there's your median row. We know it's this row here, the 30 to 40 row. Okay, now we have to start pulling out the values in the formula. Okay, so this OME, all it means is what is the lower limit of the median interval. Look at the median interval, it's the 30 to 40%. So the lowest value is 30. That's your lower value. Your OME there is 30. Okay, so you write that down. OME is 30. The next symbol is C, and that's your class width. All it means is how wide is this class? Well, the interval goes from 30 to 40, so that's 10. Okay, the upper limit, which is 40 minus 10, that's 10%. Okay, so your C is 10%. So far, everyone with me? Following? Okay, good, 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 good. Okay, so we've got our C, we've got our OME. The N we worked out earlier, which is 50, right? But N is 50, right? Now, this F bracket less than, yes, not sure if I'll remember it. It's fine, you can go back to the video. It is being recorded, Linda, so don't stress about it. All right, so let's go back to this. The F, this bracket less than, this is one symbol, okay? This whole thing is one symbol. All it means is what is the sum or the cumulative frequency before that median interval. So this is our median interval. It's asking you to add up all the frequencies before that. And if you add them up, you'll get 14 plus 6, which is 20. That's what that F of less than is. It's 20. And then the last symbol is the one in the denominator, which is FME, right? All it means is what is the frequency of the median interval, and that's 16. So you've got all your symbols here. Your FME is 16, your F of less than is 20, your N is 50, your OM is 30%, your C is 10%. And what you do is you plug those values into this formula, and that'll give you the median. Now, can you just do that for me? I want to show you something. So give that a shot. You've got all the values, put into your calculator and get the median. You should get something like 33.1%. So let's see if you do that on your calculator correctly. Give you a second. Sorry, I muted myself. I didn't even know that. So what I was saying is, yeah, do practice in that, because using your calculator is a skill as well, and you need to be comfortable with that as into entering fractions, etc. So aim to get the answer in the back of your textbook, but I've listed it here. It's 33.1%. Okay, and another way to sense check this, and I do recommend you sense check it. Remember, you worked at the median now, right? And you said that the median interval is this interval here, 30 to 40%. So whatever answer you get must lie in that 30 to 40 mark. And if you look at the answer we got, it's 33%, and that is in the interval. If you had got something under 30 or something over 40, then you know you made a mistake somewhere. All right, so use it as your guideline. Okay, does that make sense, everyone? I know you struggled with entering values in the calculator, but it's fine. The concepts are the most important. Using your calculator can always just require some practice. Okay. So yeah, that's pretty much what I want to cover. Yes, everything's gonna need practice. Exactly, Lennon. Exactly. So try and get in as much examples as you can, but you'll get the hang of it. The more you work through it, you'll be very proficient in no time. So yes, that's what I want to say. That's what I want to cover today. The next collab will probably be in 2 or 3 weeks' time, but I will cover, in that time, I need you guys to cover probability and probability distributions. So that's learning unit 3 and 4. So aim to do that. And in the meantime, if you're having problems, send me questions and what you're having problems with. If it's a lot, then I'll have a collab sooner. It depends. Okay, how did you get the F less than again? Josephine, so the F less than, the symbol means cumulative frequency. So if I go back here, this F less than, right? It means the cumulative frequency for all the intervals before that median interval. So this is our median interval, this one here. And all it means is, what is the sum of the frequencies before that? So it's the 14 plus the 6, which is how you get the 20. You're welcome. Welcome. Step, get this one in there. I like that one, Lennon. Okay, you're welcome, Beta. Okay, guys, that's what I want to cover today. Are there any more questions? Like I said, I'll put up the ICE task before the end of this week, and then you'll have until 1st of November to complete all of them. Great, I'm glad. I'm glad that you're getting some value from this. You too. Thank you, Shakira. Enjoy your evening, everyone. Thanks for joining in, and we will chat soon. You're welcome. Thanks. Great to hear that. Okay, have a good one, everyone. Cheers.